Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today I'm going to be building this digital alarm clock kit. I unveiled this in one of my unpacking videos not too long ago. I'll probably be releasing two versions of this video. One will be a longer one, and the other one I'm going to edit it down to be probably half the length or half the time. So let's say if it takes me 1 hour to build this kit, I'm gonna edit it down to 30 minutes and release both the 1 hour and the 30-minute video. And so depending on which video you're watching now, I'll put a link here to the other video. So if you're watching the long version video, this link will be to the short version video in case you don't want to spend a long time watching this kit build. Okay, let me get these parts set up and we'll come back. So these are all the components that we need to install. There's the enclosure, that's the last part. And we have the motherboard here and some IC chip holders as well as the ICs, two of them. This is, I believe, a thermistor, because this clock will also give you the temperature. Some capacitors here. We have four transistors, crystal, two buttons, buzzer for the alarm. This is a light-dependent resistor. And then we have the power, which is basically a power jack to USB, because this runs on 5 volts. And then this is for the battery, the top part of the coin cell battery. We also have the 7 segments here and a filter that goes on top, and some 10K resistors as well as 330 ohms. I'll be testing those with the multimeter just to make sure that they measure fairly well. So let's start with that. All right, you can see the multimeter up in the corner. We're in ohms mode, and we're going to test. First, I'm going to start with the 330 ohm resistors. Let's see. 330. Okay, all of these are okay. Now I'm going to do the 10 kilo ohms. All right, all of these are okay as well. One thing I forgot to mention, the light dependent resistor is because the light of the clock will dim at night. Like if you have it in a dark room, the display will dim. So it's not annoying. And I have the green version of this clock. It comes in 4 different colors. All right, so we have the instructions here, but the board is really quite nice because it pretty much shows everything we need. It labels everything, the resistors. You can see the 330 and you can see the 10K, battery, the ICs, and they have a notch for the ICs. Now, one thing they do mention is to start with the smaller components before moving on to the bigger components, which kind of makes sense. So let's begin with resistors. We have here, there's a bunch of 330 ohms, and here there's 10 kilo ohms. I'm going to do the 330 ohms first. I discovered recently that there's something called sibilance. Now, that's a big word, and I wasn't sure what that was, but I was researching like a hissing sound whenever I use a word with the letter S. And so it turns out it's actually a thing on cheap microphones, like the one that I bought recently. And so they have tools that you can use to reduce that hiss sound. And so I've actually installed it, and I'm using it now, because I noticed in my first couple of videos where I used the wireless lavalier microphone, there was an annoying hiss. And in my testing, now I think it's much better. Anyway, I thought I'd mention that in case anyone is interested. And it's called sibilance, but it's also called de-esser, D-E-E-S-S-E-R. I guess because the sound happens mostly when people use words with the letter S. So this is what we have. Now I hate to bend legs, so I'm gonna hold them like this with my hand, put flux, and just try to get one side solid, and then we'll do the other side. Now this is where I need like 3 hands, but let's see how well we can do this. I'm just putting flux on each leg here, because I will not be able to bring my flux core solder to the actual solder point. I run my soldering iron at 310 degrees C, and it's one of those T12. The brand is KSGER, Kester. All right, let's see how well this goes. What temperature do you guys run your irons at? I don't know if 310 is too high, or let's see. Yeah, that looks decent enough. Just like to push down just this leg here. Okay. And now the other side I can do. Let me get rid of the multimeter. Let me see if I can do some of this under the microscope. You might have a better view this way. There's no need for flux here because my solder has flux in it, and since I'm bringing it directly to the pad, there's no need to add additional flux, at least not in my opinion. All right, let's see how well we did. Let me give you, let's see. Let's switch to okay. I just want to check on the other side. Zoom down a bit. That last one, let me touch it up quickly. That's better. Let's trim these. All right. Next, I'm going to do the I'll clean up at the very end once we finish everything. Yeah. Now let's do the and from this side. That's what we have. Now I'm going to do the 10K ones here. Let's go ahead and continue with the 10K. How many do we need? 2, 4, 6, 7. 2, 2, 4, 6, 7. Also an additional one for the 10K. Maybe they just give you one extra in case you ruin something. I don't know. Alright, same deal as before, so I might speed this up a bit in editing. I just reduced my temperature to 300. I think 300 should be enough. It's melting. The solder is melting quite nicely. Alright, I think we're good. Let me trim off the legs. And this is what we have here. 10K. So far, so good. What do we do next? Small components. We have small capacitors. What does it say on this? 22. Do we have any? Yeah. So we have C4 and C5 are 22. I think they mention it here somewhere. Phototransistor, ceramic capacitor, C4, C5. And then there's C1, 0.1 microfarad. Alright, let's put these two. These are non-polarized, so it doesn't matter how you put them. I don't think my meter is able to measure 22 picofarad. It can measure the 0.1, which I'll do in a moment, but I don't think it can measure the low 22. This is the 0.1 microfarad. I can see on it 104. So that's 1 0 and then 4 zeros, and it's in picofarad. So that's the equivalent of 1 microfarad. Let's test that. Let me bring up my multimeter again. Okay, and we'll put it on that's on capacitance. It should measure it. 0.1 mic. Let's see. Well, that's not even close. Let's see again. Try without touching it, maybe. No, it says 56. Is it nanofarad? Let's see that. Yeah, 58 nanofarad. That's a bit troubling, but could it be my multimeter that doesn't measure very well? I have another multimeter. Let me use the other multimeter and test it, and I'll be back. So that's my other multimeter, and I put it on capacitance. Let's see. The other one measured around 59, 58, 59 microfarad. About the same result, 58.8 or yeah, 59, 58, 59 nanofarad. So that's half the capacitance of what it should be. But we're going to go with it and hope for the best, because I have no replacement for that. Alright, so we're going to install that supposedly 0.1 microfarad. Here it says C1 right there, next to the 10K resistors. Alright, what's next? We have small components, so we have some transistors, 4 of them. They're all the same. S8550. 1, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it's really nice. They switch back here. They show you the how to install it properly. So you have the flat side and then the curve, and so you know how to install these properly. All right, it's been 3 or 4 hours. I had to go help a relative with the problem he was having with his wireless range extender. Anyway, so we're back and let's continue. I'm gonna install the crystal next. Where does that go? Y1. Okay. And there's the crystal right there. Next, the LDR. Let me double check that it's R16. Photoresistor R16. Yeah. So right there, R16. And I'm not sure if this needs to go all the way in or not, because I remember that in the enclosure there is a hole here on top of the case, and I believe that's so that the LDR can protrude from it slightly. So let's just quickly let me just see the clearance here. Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna eyeball it and hope for the best. So I'm gonna say something like this. All right, let's go with this. Next, what should we do next? A buzzer? Yeah, let's do the buzzer. So I see a plus sign. There's a plus sign on the buzzer there, and I'll match it with the plus sign there. All right, let's do is that any? Yeah, let me touch up the other side. I don't like the way it looks. Oh, that's good. Now, power jack. Oh, sorry. There we go. Touch, touch up this one a little bit. Yeah, I think that's good. Once we clean the board, I think it'll look better. Do I need to cut these? Maybe just a little bit. Okay, where are we now? Buttons. We have S1 and S2. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to bother trimming those, but they are pretty flush. Yeah, yes, they are. Both of them are sitting quite flush. The other side. Yeah, very nice. What's left? We have the two ICs and then the 7-segment displays. We'll start with the small IC, which goes here. We're going to match the notch with the notch on the board. There we go. Let me secure one pin, and then, or maybe two pins, diagonally opposite pins. And then I'll do the rest under the microscope. Let's make sure it's sitting relatively flush. I think that's as far as they go in. They don't go any more than that. But to confirm, I'm going to put in the other one and just see how it looks under the microscope. Aha! I got some solder in one of the one of the holes. We'll wick it up quickly. One of the holes of the big IC. Let's give me a bit of a better view. That second hole is a bit hard to, the pin is not going in easily. Let's see, we can remove a bit of that solder. That should be good. Yeah, now it goes in. Alright, I just want to see how big the gap is. Yeah, you see I'm pushing it in all the way with my hand, and there's still a slight gap. And if I remove it, then you will see a similar gap on the small one. So yeah, it's fine. So let me solder the big one now. Again, I'm going to do a couple of the pins to hold it in place. Hold that there. I have a bunch of indirect lighting lights, but they're not the best, but the price was right. So, alright, let's solder the pins in. Now what we have left is to put the 7 segments, but let me do Let me do a serious cleanup here, because this board is super sticky. IPA, toothbrush, and hope for the best. You know what? I'm gonna let me heat the board a bit to melt some of that flux. Yeah, improvement. This is how we're looking now. Barrel jack, battery, buzzer, and I still have to put in the two ICs here. I'll leave that till the end because now we're going to put the 7 segments here, the S1, 2, 3, and 4. And the third one has to go, they have a note here, it says, the third Nixie tube must be installed upside down. So let's begin. They have a cover? Yeah, they have like a cover on them. DS1. Okay, so that's one. Very nice. Let me secure at least 2 legs. Good. I still have to solder the rest of the legs, but let me make sure the rest are going to fit okay. And I'm following. This is pretty clear. So you see 1, 2, and 4. The dot has to be on the bottom right, just like here. The dot is on the bottom right. The 2 buttons are here, same as in the picture. The 2 buttons are here, and then bottom right, bottom right, bottom right. This one upside down. Let's continue. Oh, I closed one of the holes by mistake. Let's see if it works without using flux. That usually doesn't work, but where is it? I'm curious to try that. Yeah, okay. Maybe it'll work. I think it's gonna work. Maybe not. Not enough heat. Okay, that's clear now. Yeah, worked. Yeah, let's put the second one in. Again, I'll solder a couple of the legs. Wake up. Third one is the one that goes upside down. So the dot has to be top left. The dot has to be top left, so like this. No, that one needs to be pushed down a bit. There we go. Yeah, and also from the other side. That's it. Fourth one, back to the lower right as far as the dot. I'm gonna proceed to solder all the rest of the legs. I'm not gonna use the microscope because that's gonna take way too long. So this camera will have to do. Perhaps I can zoom you in a tiny bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Let me take a quick look and then I'll give you a view. See if I have any bridges. No, all looks good. The other side. Try to clean it a little bit. Alright, what's left? ICs. Where are they? Here. And the notches here. So I'll match the notches accordingly. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 11. No, there's not here. There's not here. I think we're in. Yeah. So I think this is complete. Now I don't think I have this size battery, but I can purchase that at a later time. Anything left? Okay, I'm gonna go over the manual quickly just to see if I missed anything, and then we'll come back for a test. Well, I have an issue that I forgot to install the thermistor. I have the thermistor here, and I forgot to put that. It's R17. Goes right there. And I forgot to put it. And now we have the 7 segment behind. And I'm not inclined to remove it just to put that in. So I'm going to put it in and solder it from this side rather than the other side. And hopefully that'll work. So I need to bend the legs and cut them. But obviously I'm not going to keep it sticking up like that, so I'm going to cut it down to something reasonable. Good cleanup. Worst case scenario, if I find that the temperature is not being reported properly, I can always go back and remove this segment here, and then actually it's going to require both segments. Well, then let's hope it works. Not that I expect the temperature to be something accurate. I mean, it depends on this small NTC, so I don't know how accurate it would be anyway. Okay. So now comes the big test. We're going to plug it in and see if it comes to life with this cable. There's a power bank. Let me put the filter on top. All right. Oh, damn it. Moment of truth. Do we have life?
We have picture. That's crazy.
We have life. Five, 8, 5. Reset. Press 2 keys at the same time for 5 seconds, and then it displays 7:59. 5 seconds later, it displays 8. Reset is done after buzzer responses for a while. Okay, so we have to press, take power out, put power back in, press the 2 buttons for 5 seconds, 7:59, and then after 5 seconds, there we go, exactly as it says. Right. Set up time, clock, and hourly chime. Set up hour. Press the function key. Function key is the one on top. Set up hour. Press the function key. The hour Nixie tube and the second point are blinking. Press plus to revise hour, which is the lower one. Okay, so press this. And let's say, I don't know what the time is. Let's say it's 4. Why does it keep turning off? Ah, yes. Because this is this power delivery thing, it's not detecting that it's drawing enough current, so it turns off. Alright, let me plug it into, I have an old style dummy 5 volt 2 amp charger. It's right here. Yeah. Do we have to do I think I have to do the reset all over again. Yeah. Alright, press the 2 buttons. $7.59 now to go to 8 and beep. There we go. Now we can, let's say we said it was 1600. Go to the next one. Let's say it's 4:05. The next one I believe is the alarm. Yeah, that's the alarm. Anyway, I don't want the alarm, so I'm going to turn it off. That light went off, meaning I turned off the alarm. What's the next thing? I don't know what the chime. Set up the time for hourly chime. I don't know. I'm just going to keep it like this. 16:05. Let's see if it goes to 16:06. Oh, without the filter, it doesn't show very nicely. No, 16:06. So that works. I'm gonna turn off all the lights. I have 2 lights, and I want to see if this will dim. But I don't know if the camera is going to compensate. Let me see. Can I use my finger and cover the? Yeah, I see the LDR. Let me cover it with my finger. Oh, it shows the temperature 25 degrees supposedly. 8:05. I think that's the date. That's the thing I didn't set. 2 is the day of the week. Anyway, okay. So let me cover the LDR. No, there's too much light. Okay, let me see. And finally this one. No. Oh, I still have other lights. Oh boy. Last one. Yeah. Do you see how it dimmed? I'm going to put a bit more light. Now it's bright. Now it went dim. And I can actually see it better in person. Okay, so this part works. Lights coming back on. There we go. So this works. Only thing left is to, where's the enclosure? To put it basically in the enclosure and secure it with, I have the screws right here. Secure it with the screws. Let me tidy up a bit my desk and we'll come back and I'll do that. Alright, so I looked in my battery drawer and I think this is the right size battery for this clock. So I don't know, let's try it before I put it in the enclosure, because then I'm gonna have to reset it. That's okay. Yeah. Okay. So the battery is in. Let's see. Here. Yeah, we have to do the reset thing one more time. Okay. Let's set it to 1600. 05 again. We said that's the alarm, and I don't want the alarm. We said this is the date. Anyway, I'll do all this later. 1605. So I'm going to remove the power, and then we'll come back and plug it and see if it's still. Oh, it's showing the temperature and all that. And that's the date, and then day of the week, which by default is set to 2, I guess. Back to the clock. Yeah. Okay. 1605. I'm going to remove it, and we'll come back in like a minute or two, and it should still say 1606. Let's say. This has been a fun kit to build. Like I said, I already have a red one, and I use it in my bedroom, but this one, I think I'm going to use it here on my desk. Okay, I guess we waited long enough. Big. Here we go. That's the date. Day of week. Let's see what the time is going to be. 1606. So now it saves the time. Because I installed the battery, it saves the time, the date, day of week, everything. All right, good. Now we need to put it in the enclosure. All right, so the battery on my phone, which is this camera up here, died, and I had to charge it a bit. Let's finish this video. This won't fit in here. It needs to be trimmed. This needs to go in there, and it does. And just test fitting everything. Yeah, everything fits nicely. And the LDR is kind of sticking out, which is good enough. Yeah. All right. So everything fits properly. Let's remove it. Except this needs to be trimmed. Yeah, that looks just right. All right. Let's remove the. Are we supposed to remove these? I would think so. Yeah. That's just protection, right? Yeah, it has to be. I don't think it's not illogical for them to remain. Okay, so this goes in here. Yeah, that fits nicely. And then, yeah, like this. Perfect. Yeah. Let me give give these a bit of a clean. Now we have 4 screws. That's good. So now the time should still be going because we have that battery, and it should be 16. I don't know. How long was I charging my phone for? It should be 16. I'm guessing 40 something, 16, 30 something. I don't know. Great. All right. Final test. Close to 1640. So temperature, this is, what did we say this was? Date, which I need to adjust. Day of week, I'll need to adjust. And that's the time, 1636. So it's obviously keeping the time and the date. Well, I hope you enjoyed this kit build. I certainly had fun building it, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.